Hello and welcome to Dave's Delightful Dishes. And no, you're not hearing that wrong. I had a lot of problems where people were saying they couldn't find my channel, and when I looked it up, there were a lot of Dave's Delights out there. So I decided, let's say have something that's similar that still says what I want to say, and I am the only Dave's Delightful Dishes now, so you'll be easier to find me. So anyway, today on Dave's Delightful Dishes, we are going to do a pork roast pot roast, kind of Italian style. We're going to have that with a side of pasta. So we start off with 3 pounds of pork roast, trimmed. When I say trimmed, you've got extra fat on these, if you have extra fat on these. If it's like a pork tenderloin, there probably won't be very much. But this is just another cut of pork roast, and there was a little bit of a fat cap on it. So you don't have to take it all off, but I got like the big chunks and cut them away so that it's a little bit leaner. And then we have to take this, and we have to put salt and pepper on it all over. So I take some salt, I cover the meat, I take my handy dandy pepper grinder, and it gets a little loud, but so be it. And remember, we're about to get porky hands, so have you washed your hands? Make sure you do, and do it again after we're done touching them. Flip it, and I got to be a little bit smarter. Didn't think that one through using both my hands. Luckily, I got a little thing off to the side here. And in goes the salt for the other side. And my pepper. And this 3-pound pork roast is ready to go. And, if it's a 4-pound roast, so be it. You find one that fits the size for your family. You don't have to make more than you need. We need 3 cups of crushed tomatoes. These are San Marzanos, but whatever ones you like, or whatever ones you can get. I need 2 ounces of tomato paste. Now, for those of you who are going to the store to get tomato paste, which is most of you, if not all of you, you want to use 1/3 of one of those little cans. Each can is 6 ounces. We have 2 cups of chicken broth. Nice. If you can make it yourself, that's great. Most people don't, so in which case, pick your favorite brand. 1/2 cup of a dry white wine. And it's a wine you want to drink. I always say that. Don't get a cooking wine. 4 cloves of garlic, minced. And if you want to go a little extra on this is an Italian-style dish, so it's hard to go wrong as long as you don't have it all garlic. 1 pepper that's diced. Now, at the local farmer's market today, they had some nice ones that were starting to turn red, but were still in good shape. So I've got a little bit of red and green, but you can pick whatever color you like. If you want it to be more vibrant, by all means, you put a yellow or an orange one in. We have 1 onion that's been diced, and 1 large eggplant, which has been peeled and diced. And I try to do about like a 1-inch cube on these. And then we have a 1 cup of capers. 1 tablespoon of capers. If you put a cup of capers in there, that's going to be way too much. And then we have a 1/4 cup of black olives that they've been pitted and I've quartered them. And 2 teaspoons of oregano, dried oregano. And then at the end, because this is a long process meal, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of parsley that chopped that I'm going to scatter over the top, as well as some fresh basil. So the thing is, this is a slow cook meal, and you can put this in a slow cooker, set it and forget it. So once I'll talk about that as we're going through the process, but you can put this on the stovetop. I'm going to do it in the oven here with one of my enameled Dutch ovens, but there's many ways to make this meal happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the cooktop so I can start doing things here in the Dutch oven. I will see you momentarily. Okay, so I've put a little bit of oil in the bottom of this Dutch oven just so that things aren't sticky when we first start here. And we are going to put the pork roast in, and I got to sear all 4 sides. So pork roast comes in, and you're gonna hear it sizzle. Well, maybe not yet, but this is gonna sear, and I've got to sear it on all 4 sides. So you let it get to where it's browned, then you flip it, and then you do the edges, and you can kind of hold it up. I like using these tongs, but whatever you're going to do. I mean, if you're really that tough, maybe you can use your bare hands, but I don't really recommend that. Now, when we're talking about other ways that we can cook with this, I'm doing it with a Dutch oven that I'm going to do in the oven once we get past this part. If you were going to put this into a crock pot, you still need to sear this first, in which case I'd probably use cast iron just to get it browned, and then it would go into the crock pot with all the vegetables and stuff from there. So, in the stovetop, you can use this, and you just put it on low and slow and just keep an eye on it, just like you were making a spaghetti sauce. All those ways are options. I think for most people, the crock pot will be the most sensible one because you can set it to, set it to 6 hours or 4 to 6 hours on low heat, and come back, and it'll probably be ready. You just want to make sure you check the internal temperature at the end of your cook time to make sure that pork is cooked all the way through if you're using any method. So I will get back to you once we've flipped this. You can see it's starting to go. So when that's fully browned, and it isn't yet, I'm going to flip it to the other side. I got to get all 4 sides done, and then I will get back to you. Okay, so I've got all 4 sides done here, and I'm going to turn this heat down a little bit. And you see it's starting to brown. It doesn't need to be cooked through because obviously you're not going to cook a roast through that quickly. But I'm going to take this off just for a moment. And then you see browned all the way around. And all the other things are going to start going in. But I'm going to start off with the chicken broth. And the white wine. And the garlic. And the tomatoes, the crushed tomatoes. And then I'm going to put in the tomato paste. And at that point, I'm going to stir before we put anything else in. So let's get this all mixed around and mixed across. And that's also going to kind of deglaze this pan a little bit, this pot a little bit. Now that that's all mixed together, now we can start adding the rest of this stuff. But I'm going to start off now by nestling that meat back in there, and everything's going to go around it. Now, if you were doing this in a crock pot, you would do the same thing. You would have the meat that you seared on the other pan off on its side, and you would get all this ready. But before you put the vegetables in goes the meat. So that way it's surrounded rather than having the bottom of it not touching all the seasoning. In go the vegetables. I'm going to turn the heat off now because this is going to end up going in the oven. We just needed it all to be hot for us to get it there. So all the other ingredients are going in now. And then we're going to give it a stir, and then the lid's going to go on. The only thing that I'm reserving is the parsley and the basil because those are a topping at the end or for presentation mostly. So give that a little shuffle so it's in there. And the cooking action is going to make all this stuff cook down and get in and the flavors will all blend. Because this is going to go into an oven now. In that 325-degree oven that you will have preset, it's going to go for 4 hours. So on goes the lid. Out come the bare hands. And I am going to put this in the oven that's directly below me. Okay, it has been 4 hours. At 2 hours, I went in and just kind of stirred the stuff around just so that we'd make sure everything got mixed together and it wasn't one pocket of stuff here and one pocket of stuff there. But now, let's see what things look like. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that looks real good. So what we got to do first here is we have to get the pork loin, or the pork roast, out of the sauce. And it is going to be very soft. Look at that. Look at that. So this is going to go over my cutting board, and then we're going to stir the rest of this sauce together, and then we're going to start putting things on a plate. So we're going to go that way towards the workstation, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Okay, well now here we are. We're going to start off by getting the plate together. Now I've made some tagliatelle here, but you can use any pasta you like, and if you it literally can be any pasta you like. Then I'm going to take some of my sauce and put it in here with a bowl. It's just the way that I like doing it. If you want to just put your pasta down on the plate and then put sauce over it, that's no problem either. But I like getting things started here. And then, just for plating purposes, I now have a base of pasta ready to go. And I need to carve off a couple of pieces of this roast. It's going to be so tender that it's basically going to come apart in pieces. But I want to at least give it an opportunity to be sliced pork. And remember, wash your hands. I'm going to get a couple of those chunks out onto the plate. That's right there in the middle. And now it's time for my toppings. I'm going to put on a little bit of parsley. I'm going to put on a couple of pieces of basil. And of course, I got to have a little basil floret. And then at the end, you're going to use salt and pepper to taste, but I always want to have a little bit of pepper over the top. And now I'm going to take a spoonful of my sides of my vegetables here and just kind of fill in the edges around. Maybe a little bit up over the top too. And then just a little more parsley. And now, voila! That's one heck of a dinner. And this 3-pound roast, just looking at how much that cut off, this is probably 4 to 6 servings. So you want to plan the right amount of pasta to go with it, or this will freeze really well. So guys, I hope you liked this. It's just kind of a different take on something you might have in the freezer. In fact, I had this roast in the freezer. So this is something you could do, and since it can be done in a crock pot as well as this way, you can set it, forget it, go to work, and come home and have a lovely dinner ready for you. So please, by all means, try this at home, and please leave me some comments. Let me know what you'd like me to do next. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe, and tell me what you think of the new name of my channel. So this is Dave from Dave's Delightful Dishes, and I hope to see you again next time.